Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the August 15th, 2011 City of Waukegan City Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Present.
Alderman Tempest.
Present.
Alderman May. Alderman Valco. Alderman Rivera.
Present.
Alderman Cunningham.
Present.
Alderman Conkin.
Present.
Alderman Moiseo.
Present.
Alderman Beedling.
Present. We have a quorum. Great. Could we please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a very slim agenda this evening, so it probably will not be a very long meeting. We do not have any executive session for this evening, so I will lead off. There's one item that we had wanted to take care of in the beginning regarding a recognition of one of our employees, but she's asked that we hold off. She has some family members coming, so we're going to hold off for a few minutes until they arrive. But I will open with my usual mayor's comments. First, we have a couple of announcements. Dave Motley, our Director of Public Relations, asked me to make a couple of, or three announcements actually. The first of which is we have a couple of new art galleries that are opening downtown. And the first one is the Tufo Art Gallery and Skid Pup Studio grand opening. The time will be this Thursday, August 18th. It starts at 4:30 and goes till 8 o'clock. The location is 116-B Genesee Street. It's just basically next door to Jerry's Tacos. It's very easy to find, and if I remember correctly from being a kid, I think that was Lake County Hobby, and I used to spend an awful lot of time in that store when I was young, buying model cars and slot cars and chemistry kits and to go home and make bombs with and things like that. But it's a nice little studio. I've met the owner. He's a very nice guy. He's very talented, and looking forward to having Patrick officially welcomed into our downtown family. Next, we have the Dandelion Gallery, which was open at one location down in South Genesee near Greentown, has moved to a new location, which is 109 South Genesee. And that opening will be Saturday, August 20th from 5 to 9 o'clock. I would recommend that if you get a chance to go down, please come for the grand opening. I think you'll find it entertaining. There's some very, very accomplished artwork on the walls, and it is going to be a cooperative gallery, if I understand correctly how it's going to be run, which means that local artists can become members. You can have your work exhibited there, and they will have art classes and things like that as they go along, and that's something that I'm actually looking forward to taking part in, picking up the pencil and chalk again and doing a little drawing. This gallery is run by Emily Day Deek Correa, and and also Michelle Messenic Patch. They're both accomplished artists, but I would ask you to, if you get a chance to please come. I think you'll find the work and the environment very stimulating. Next we have another Art Walk event, August 20th from 5 to 10 o'clock. It's being held in our Genesee Arts District in downtown Waukegan, and it is something that we've had a couple of these. They've been very successful. We've had at least 800 to 1,000 people come to these events. We've had some famous people come, and I think I mentioned last time that Billy Corrigan, who was the lead guitarist and singer for Smashing Pumpkins, was at the last one, and he was very impressed by what he saw. And also participating will be Representative Rita Mayfield. She has a gallery at her location on 120 South Genesee Street. She's featuring Lake County Art League artist Maggie Schwartz-Krause. Lake Surf Designs at 118 South Genesee Street will be featuring Lorinda Murphy and Lonnie Henderson, Steve Hainig and Mary Neely. Dinosaur Studio, which is the new tattoo Parlor and Art Studio that opened on Genesee Street will also be participating. That's at 116 North Genesee. Joplin's Java will have music performing from 7 to 9. It is a finger-style guitar player, which I believe is a kind of a jazz style, and that's at 114 South Genesee Street. Then Greentown Tavern at 110 South Genesee Street will have a live performance by a band starting at 10:30, and a live acoustic set at 11:15. So there's a lot going on, and I would ask that those of us up here that are elected officials, please try to attend. I think you'll really enjoy yourselves. And those in the audience, I think you'll find it entertaining. It's something a little bit different. It's part of our sort of master plan for the rebirth of our downtown, which is using the arts to get things going, and special events. The idea is bringing people into our city. Now, I have a bit of a technical duty that I have to fulfill. And so the next few minutes are going to be sort of dry, but I have some information that I have to present. So pursuant to Municipal Ordinance Section 2-121, under duties, I am required to provide an annual report to the City Council. This report is as follows. As mayor, I have challenged our City Council members, business owners, and residents to acknowledge the deterioration of the city's financial position over the past 2 years and put steps in place to address the continued demand for city services in a time of dwindling resources. At the end of the 2010 fiscal year, the city had experienced 5 consecutive operating deficits, depleting our once healthy general fund reserves. Very concerning is the city's Safety and Risk Management Fund, which held a $29.5 million deficit at the conclusion of the 2010 fiscal year due to lawsuits and work-related claims. All of this contributes to the city's lack of liquidity, which makes reacting to changes in needs with manpower and resources more and more difficult. We ended our 2011 fiscal year on April 30th, and while we are diligently working with our external auditors to finalize the books, we don't believe the financial position will be worsened. But on the flip side, it didn't necessarily improve either. Overcoming tens of millions in deficits is a long-term process. By conservatively budgeting revenues and aggressively cutting expenditures last fiscal year, we hope to have stopped the city's hemorrhaging. We reduced personnel 30% in fiscal year 2011 and cut personnel an additional, 2010, and cut personnel an additional 16% in fiscal year 2011. The city has implemented limited new revenue streams, including a food and beverage tax, increased fees in the areas of the rental program and water services. But status quo isn't enough. We must do more than hold the line. We must start putting money back in to fix what was broken. In June, Moody's Investor Service downgraded the city's rating once again. The rating agency indicated that additional draws on reserves could result in a credit profile that is inconsistent with the A2 rating, essentially putting us on warning that we need to balance our budgets without one-time fuzzy math solutions. The resolution to the city's financial problems will take as long to implement, if not longer, as the problems were caused. We will continue to target the downtown and waterfront areas for expansive redevelopment while ensuring our outstanding debt burden remains manageable. We must continue to look for ways to cut spending, but must also face the reality that taxes, fees, and charges must be on the table if we are going to be responsible stewards of the public's trust. Bottom line, we must live within our means and plan for our future at the same time. This means that we must work towards the restoration of rainy day funds. Excuse me, could everybody take their phones out and turn it to silent? I'll hold off for a moment to make sure that we do that. Thank you. Bear with me while I get caught up here. Yeah. We must continue to look for ways to cut spending, but must also face reality that taxes, fees, and charges must be on the table if we are going to be responsible stewards of the public's trust. Bottom line, we must live within our means and plan for our future at the same time. This means working towards restoration of rainy day funds to a level sufficient to provide the flexibility and stability we need to address the needs of our citizens. The importance of having such a fund is clearly reflected in the costs associated with the cleanup from the series of storms that occurred in Waukegan this summer. Between collecting the tons of material from thousands of downed trees and finding a way of disposing of that material and dealing with the severe flooding and implementing solutions to that dangerous problem, our bottom line has taken another hit. We are reviewing all possible means of enhancing our revenues so that we can cover the costs of the cleanup of tree debris and implement long overdue and necessary changes to our stormwater management systems across the community. These reasons, as well as the need to fund economic development initiatives, replace aging and expensive equipment, repair streets and sidewalks, and provide the appropriate levels of public safety services, are why we will begin planning and formulating the 2012 budget this fall and winter. Given the economic challenges that will remain in place for the next couple of years, there will be significant challenges in our budgeting process that will require more difficult and unpopular decisions to be made in order to maintain our services to the residents of Waukegan. That concludes my statutory requirement to make a report. That report is to come following the adoption of our budget, and it was a little bit delayed given that that process was extended a little bit longer and some of the other issues that we were dealing with, but it is as it stands. Now, copies of these documents and these comments will be available through the clerk's office, and we will also post them online within the next few days. Second, branch pickup is still ongoing. I have received a few calls and emails from people complaining about the presence of branches on the parkways or the effects on the grass. I have also witnessed one individual towing the branches from his property and putting them on adjacent school property so that the grass could be cut on his parkway. First, let me say that is illegal, and if we catch anyone improperly dumping debris, they will be ticketed. Second, a great deal of the debris that is still out came from people's backyards or from trees that were located on private property that were felled during the storm, cut apart, then illegally placed on the parkway for the city to pick up. This has added many more days to the cleanup and has stretched our capacity to dispose of the material. Third, I think that many people think we collect the debris and haul it off and poof, it magically disappears. It all has to go into certified landfills or composting yards. We are lucky to have a generous partner in helping us to solve the problem of where to put the material. We have saved tens of thousands of dollars in tipping fees as a result. Fourth, folks have complained about the small amount of damage that might have been done to the parkways while we remove debris. My answer is very simple. Get a bag of dirt, some grass seeds, and plant. The solution will grow in a matter of weeks with a little TLC and water. Waukegan has never experienced the level of destruction as we have during the storms that tore through this summer, and hopefully we will never again. But you don't get that type of damage cleaned up overnight. We will all just have to be patient while our public works employees finish up the task. We should all remind ourselves of the fact that it could have been much worse, that it was pure luck that the damage to our homes was relatively light, and that we had only one injury directly related to the storms themselves. When you get frustrated by the time it is taking to clean up, remember the victims of Katrina and Joplin, Missouri. In regards to the former, it is still an ongoing process 6 years out, and in the latter, it will take years to fully recover from the physical damage and multiple deaths that occurred. We should count ourselves lucky to have the people in place in city government that are capable of managing the situation as well as it possibly can be. Now we will go to, I certainly will make it available to everybody. Oh, Betty, is your daughter here? Oh, great. Well, we'll skip back to this. It's a letter that we received, and you know we hear a lot of complaints, and those are the voices that usually raise the loudest and tend to be heard over the normal conversations. But we had a letter that came to us dated July 21st of this year, And it stated the following: "To whom it may concern, I am sending this letter on behalf of Ms. Betty Peterson, who assisted me on Friday, May 13th, 2011, in the Waukegan City building. Unfortunately, I was very unorganized, had nothing together, and on top of that, I was running late. It was time to close the office down, and it was 4:55, and everyone was preparing to go home. Ms. Peterson, not in any way was, Ms. Peterson displayed her readiness to go, her readiness to help. Ms. Peterson was very professional, courteous, polite, and very forthwilling to assist me. I purchased 3 city stickers and 1 animal license. I feel very strongly about sharing this good news about good people that I might come in contact with during our very troubled times. I'm hoping I'm not out of line for asking that Ms. Betty Peterson be rewarded or recognized in some small way. I'm grateful for her kindness. Thank you. Gloria J. Barnes, 216 May Street, Waukegan, Illinois, 60085. Betty, would you come up, please, for a moment? Betty, thank you very much. You've been here a long time, 11 years, and I can say that there is no doubt customer service in a business like this is one of the most difficult things that you have to do, because you deal with a lot of irate people, a lot of people who are very suspicious of what the city is doing and the bills that they have to pay. And Betty, you know, it's great to have somebody send you a commendation, and we're very appreciative of the hard work that you put in and the fact that you show this level of leadership to your coworkers. And it's a great department. It really is. Is there anything you would like to add? Because if you'd like to step up to the microphone. No?
Introduce your family.
Very happy to work with the people in Waukegan. I hope for many more years.
Would you like to introduce your family members that are here?
My husband, James Peterson. My grandson, Jason, and her friend,
Well, we appreciate everything that Betty does for the city of Waukegan, and that's how you make a great organization, are individual employees who go beyond the call and treat people with politeness and kindness, and that is something of how an organization succeeds, and we thank you for everything you've done. Thanks, Betty. Yep. Yep, absolutely. So next up we have audience time. And it looks like we have 4 people that have signed up to speak. First is Mr. Jay Bitterman. Mr. Bitterman, if you'd like to come to the microphone, and then if you would just, again, state your name and address, please.
Sure. Thank you.
Sticky. Thank you.
Here, one step together, sir. I got you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I hope this isn't taken too negatively, but
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Bitterman, could you do me a favor? Say your name and your address for me, please.
Jay Bitterman. I live at 78 Nordigan Drive, Waukegan, Illinois. On July 5th, I came to the council meeting and had this statement to make concerning water meter situation. I come here again for the following reason. that at that time I was told that I would get some kind of response. Here's the statement. On September 2007, the City Water Department came to my house and installed a new water meter. On October 2007, I received a water bill that included a charge of $118 for the cost of the new M25 Badger water meter, and I paid for it. In October 2008, I received a notification that as of September 1st, 2008, there will be an increase in the water and sewage rate. Also, there was a notification that the city will now assume the responsibility and ownership of all residential water meters and will be replaced at no cost to the owner. A fee of $2 per billing cycle will also be assessed. We are in America where government does not unilaterally assume ownership of something that they do not own. It appeared that the city's attitude in order to avoid reimbursing homeowners for the cost of the water meter. Since then, I have been billed and I paid the city $10 for 10 billing cycles at an additional $20. Now I've paid the city a total of $138. That includes $20 towards a future meter. After scrutinizing these facts, I contend that the city has overstepped its authority in assuming ownership of my $118 water meter without paying for it. Therefore, I expect the city to pay me $118. And also, at the bottom of this particular note today, I have a note here that I wait for your response. When I voiced my concern on July 5th, 2011, the mayor said he would take a look at this and talk to his staff and see what is fair as to settling the situation. I repeat, I await your response. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bitterman. I will tell you tomorrow, I have to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie to you, I dropped the ball on it. I'm not going to tell you anything different. I've been a little preoccupied the last few weeks trying to get cleaned up and dealing with the flooding, and I do apologize. I will go over to Finance tomorrow morning when I get back from a meeting I have, and we'll start working on it. We'll get on it tomorrow. So I do apologize. Mr. Fred Dom.
I don't know if I pass these out or what. First of all,
Mr. Dom, could you introduce yourself and
yes.
give us your address, sir?
my name is Fred Dom, and I live at 2817 North Pine Street in Waukegan. I wish to thank the council, first of all, for allowing me to speak. This, and forgive me for reading, because I'm not a very good speaker, so I figured by reading it'd be better. I come before you as a concerned citizen who has lived in this community and at the same address for 40 years plus. This is my first time coming to a council meeting. I never felt I had to, because if I saw any problems, I always contacted my alderman. But it seems things have changed. After having called and told they would get back to me the next week and didn't, after emailing and receiving no response, I felt it was time to get more actively involved in my community. I am retired and live in Lake County Gardens, an area where most are young working families. And I guess I have too much time on my hands. So therefore, seeing a problem that will only get worse, I decided to become more involved. The people in my community are not wealthy, and their homes are their most important investment, which in the last few years have lost a large amount of their value. But now we are facing a new threat, a physical one, flooding. The ditch that runs between the bike path and Pine Street needs to be dug out again, as it was done several years ago. The ditch is on public easement where the electric, telephone, and cable lines run. Also where the storm sewers drain for, I believe, most of the gardens where I live. The city of Waukegan or the appropriate agency needs to clean this ditch out now. Homes are being flooded. We need help now. Anyway, I have the petition that I handed you, and I'll read that part. We are signing this petition to request the city of Waukegan or appropriate agency take urgent action to correct the condition on the drainage canal that runs along North Pine Street and Lake County Gardens. The flooding on Pine Street, Ferry Street, Buttrick, MacArthur, East End is getting so bad that we are having major flooding. This problem is not going to go away. The city of Waukegan allowed Lake County Gardens to be built and the canal to be established, so therefore we feel Waukegan should maintain this canal, and that's with the following signatures on the petition. There is one thing I would like to add. While collecting signatures for this petition, I met a lot of nice, friendly, considerate people. People who offered me water and pop and asked if I wanted to take a break. People who thanked me for doing this. I wish to thank them and to encourage all the people of Waukegan to get out and walk your community and meet your neighbors. We live in a great community. Again, I thank you for allowing me to speak. This canal that runs along Pine Street or along the North Shore bike path was dug out, I believe, in 2003, right around in there, and it's overgrown again. But what really concerns me is the fact that on Ferry Street and Pine Street, it floods real bad. It doesn't necessarily, I know this last few rains that we've had have been, well, devastating, but we've had flooding there even on regular rains where it's prolonged. The canal, the storm sewer drains into this canal. And if you follow Ferry Street down to the canal, it's a large culvert that comes out, and it's getting overgrown, and the canal itself is being blocked, especially now with the storm damage that we've had. When the power company came by and cleaned the lines, they literally dropped the branches and the trees into the canal, and it's formed blockages. And it's getting serious now. It's going to only get worse, and we need help. I mean, I'm paying $1,125 a year for flood insurance, and that only covers the house. I'm retired, and I don't have that kind of money, and each year it goes up. And something needs to be done, because I've lived in this house for more than 40 years, and I have never seen it getting so bad as what it is now. Anyway, I thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Dom. And I just want to let you know that we have been in touch with the County Department of Transportation, because this is actually, I believe this is their right-of-way, and we are talking to them about getting in there, cleaning this material out. One of the problems, though, that we found when we walked back through these areas from Tuas Estates, all, you know, on down from there, was that there had been also a great deal of dumping of grass clippings and leaf garbage in that area as well, which sort of created a mat which was filling it in. And these are things that we can do some correction, but then we also have to have people not dumping material in there.
Oh, I agree with you.
And
there's no excuse. They're foolish. I used to live, when I was smaller and in high school, I was born in Waukegan, and we moved out to the county, and so I grew up mostly in Lake Villa, in that area. And in our community where we had the drains there, the storm drains, you could lift the covers up, and there was like a catch basin. Well, it was always up to the people who lived by these drains to lift the grate up and clean out the basin. And that saved the lines quite a bit because the debris didn't wash into it, into the main lines itself. And not only that, it was a nice place to get worms for fishing. Anyway, I thank you very much.
Well, we are looking at it. There's no doubt that there was, you have Waukegan systems, you have the Lake County systems, you have the Forest Reserve. All of these are players that are going to have to be part of getting this fixed, and using Stormwater Management Commission as well. And I've had some brief conversations. Everybody wants to sit down and start working towards this. They have done some work in some areas, but not along the entire length of the bike path, or at least in these areas that need to be addressed. So these are areas that we will certainly put on the table and push for some solution to get them cleaned up so that they can hold the water and it can flow like it's supposed to.
Well, I tell you, it was good. Been talking to all the people on these different streets. They've had a lot of problems. The sewer backing up. And it's been an interesting experience. And I really wish people would get out and walk. We have a lot of nice people in Waukegan. And I don't think we realize that. I know I did, because I was lucky I knew my next door neighbors. You know, but it's a new experience, and I was impressed by walking.
Well, we appreciate what you've done, and we are certainly going to address it. It may not happen overnight. It's going to take, and it takes resources. It will take money to solve this problem. There's no doubt. But we're working our way actually from mid-lane backwards. And I will tell you, I learned an awful lot about how our city drains and how easy it is to cause one small component, one failure, one blockage can flood a whole street that's 10 blocks away.
What I understand is Lake County Gardens, the section I live in, basically drains into this canal, except for along Lewis Avenue. I guess that's got on a different type of drainage system. But the rest of the garden, all those storm seals drain towards that canal. And if you could see the water coming into that canal when we put it rain, it's kind of scary sometimes.
I did see it up there, and it was. But we are working on it, so it's going to take some time, but we are beginning the process of getting there. This is years and years of neglect and under-designing as well. So, but we are working on it. I can't promise you an overnight solution, but we'll try to do our best to help out. Okay, next up is Mr. Chris Blanks.
Brother Blanks, 409 Oak Street, founder and president of Black Abolition Movement for the Mind National Action Network of Lake County. This past week, and the last call I received on Saturday, I received some calls from some of the citizens that were concerned about the safety checks. And some of the citizens was concerned and feel that the enforcement of it, that the way it's carried out, is unfair and inequitable. And the reason, and the reason that many of them, or some, is feeling this way because they're looking at the specifics of the locations where these are being carried out at, and most have been in predominantly Hispanics and in the black community. And we would say that to really get a fair and equitable enforcement of what we consider as safety checks, I would think if you had it in an area like I would say on a Green Bay Road or Sheridan Road as well. But let's not limit these checkpoints or these safety checks to the First Ward or other sides of town. I would hate to think that the reason you won't do them on Sheridan Road or on Green Bay Road is because you don't want to run afoul with some of the Great Lakes generals or some of the Abbott Labs corporate executives. But many of the citizens feel that it has been harassment when you put it in locations that is not germane and equitable in its enforcement. I personally, I was on McAllister Avenue one night, and we understand that there are people who you might stop sometime who have controlled substances and things, and you want to enforce that. I'm not condoning people driving around like that. But the First Ward and some of these other communities are not the only communities that have drugs. But we want to make sure that whatever enforcement and ordinances that are carried out, that is carried out in a fair and equitable way. Myself, I had the displeasure of one of the officers on Lenox Avenue last week. And what had happened, he pulled a young man over. I got out of the car because I seen it was 3 young men in the car, and they standing out on Lenox. One of the young men had a baby which looked like maybe 9 months to a year old. And this was on one of the 90 to 95 degree days. So it got my attention, so I got out just to assess the situation. And so as I was looking on, I kept myself at a comfortable distance, not to obstruct the officers in carrying out their duties. But as I got out to see what was going on, you know, I think one of the young men in the back seat, I think they found that that one of the young men in the back seat maybe had a little 10-cent bag of weed. I'm not granted, I'm not condoning that. But the reason they say he pulled the young man over was that because he didn't turn his signal light on. But what got my attention and what was unfair about it is because the officer told this young man, he ended up towing the car. The young man had license, he had insurance. Now, they took the young man to jail that supposedly or allegedly had 10 cent or whatever it looked like a bag of weed. But the young man that was driving had his license, he had his insurance. And the officer told him after I left the scene and I assessed it, he told the young man that the only reason that he towed the car was because I got out of the car to observe and see what was going on. Now, if the officers are going to be using their discretion to use it as some sense of a personal vendetta or to try to cause disharmony between myself and my community or any other citizens, that is the wrong way to use an ordinance. And that, you know, so I have a problem. I heard one of the aldermen state that with the gun ordinance, that he felt that that ordinance should be back in the hands that one of the aldermen said, let's take that particular ordinance, the gun ordinance, and go by whatever the state legislation is and whatever the state laws, and let's do away with the gun ordinance. Okay, you did away with that. So I say, to make this not hypocritical and unfair in its enforcement, I would say if you're going to do that with the gun ordinance, the state has jurisdictions, the state has legislations when it comes to towing. So if you're going to go by what the state said with the gun ordinance, then perhaps we need to take that $500 impoundment ordinance and put it back in the hands of what the state who issued the license on this insurance and on the state license. So, you know, we went back and forth with this impoundment ordinance. And my only problem have been and always have been and will be with the unfair enforcement of it. And long as you continue to unfairly enforce these things, you're going to have issues. So I was really surprised that the officer did that. But what I did, I went and I spoke with Chief Greathouse, and I informed him of the situation with the officer. And on that day, Officer Greathouse, the young people who had the car towed was just walking out of the police station, and I said, there they go right there. We called them in, and he asked the young people, and he told them, he said, it's important that you tell me the truth. Did this officer say this to you, that the only reason he told the man, that the only reason he towed your car was because Mr. Blanks was observing? He confirmed, the young men, they confirmed that. The office, Chief Greathouse, he went and talked to the officers, and as a result of what happened, he found out that it was true. So at that particular point, he gave the young men the car back without, he gave them the car back without the $500 impoundment. But the young men are still out of the towing money. Well, you know, sometimes that's the price if you got illegal substances in the car. But my point is, we going to have to be fair in our enforcement. One other situation, an officer was on McAllister Avenue. He's sitting right there on McAllister checking for people who don't have front license plates. Technically, yeah, that is the law. You're supposed to have 2 plates. But if you're going to be fair in your enforcement of these ordinances and these laws, don't sit right on McAllister Avenue and in the poor and underprivileged community and get all the money and to make up the deficit of the city off that. Let's get out here on Green Bay Road. Let's get on Sheridan Road so that we can get a fair and equitable enforcement of the law. And that's the only thing I have to say on that. I think I got my point out here. And, you know, we're going to have to be fair in our enforcement. And I'm not going to be satisfied with this $500 impoundment issue until it's back in the hands of the people who issued the license, who said they already have legislations on the book. I want what Alderman Tempest wants. Let's put it back in the hands of the state.
Thank you, Mr. Blanks. Mary Claire Jakes.
I'm Mary Claire Jakes, 1944 Ash, Waukegan, 60087. Hello, everyone. I'm here today as with my hat on as the board president for Waukegan Main Street. And Mayor took a lot of my thunder by talking about Art Walk. No, that's great.
David asked me to.
But no.
I do as David asked.
But so what I thought I would do, you got to talk, David, yes. But one of the things I wanted to share with you is sort of the philosophy that Main Street has, and those of us who are, I also am a potter, so I'm an artist at Dandelion Gallery, have about what we're trying to do in downtown Waukegan, and I share it with City Council and I share it with the community, because we're trying to create an arts community in downtown Waukegan. We call it the Waukegan Arts District. The Art Walk, since we've been doing since March, are really one step of creating this strategy of creating this type of community. One of the things we found is if you look at art-centered economic development, it really has an impact. And since March, one of the things that's happened is that 4 empty storefronts, 3 on the 100 block of South Genesee, and 1 on the 200 block of North Genesee, which were empty, no taxes, no rent, no nothing, empty spots, have all now been filled because directly as a result of Art Walk. Because Art Walk brings artists into empty storefronts. We put in temporary galleries. People come, then people say, hey, this is a good place to be, and those stores are now all rented. One of the rentals did occur with Dandelion Gallery now becoming a full-fledged business with a, now we pay rent, so I hope everyone comes and buys something so we can afford the rent. But it is very important to see how this strategy of Art Walk is working, which is why we ask people to come and be a part of this. See how exciting it is to have 1,200 people walking up and down Genesee Street. That's pretty cool. On North Genesee Street, what Art Walk is doing is a little bit different. There are more stores there that are occupied. So we're going to be putting artists into existing businesses, much like we did at the Wine and Art Stroll. So a place like Big Ed's would have an artist, or Federal Supply, or what we're doing now is I'm working with CLC so that their arts clubs can have an exhibit there once a month, so that Art Walk will now extend from South Genesee up through North Genesee, and we have Skid Pup Gallery, so that's another block, and as far up as we can go. And we just really feel that the fruits of these labors are what we see right now. They're already in existence. But the next fruit that's coming, and we're very excited, is the fact that the Karcher Art Space Lofts project is moving ahead. There's a lot of support for it from individuals, and there's a lot of support for it from many of the city council members, and we're just grateful that of the support of the community for this project. It's one of those things, it's the next step of creating this arts-centered economic development, which will only help the budget struggles that the city has had, and I think it has already. You talk to any of the businesses down, talk to Bob at Greentown, see what's happened on any Art Walk night. but also as we get more businesses involved, this economic activity will continue to grow. So I look forward to seeing all of you on Saturday. I'll be at Dandelion Gallery showing my stuff, and I hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Claire. We appreciate that. That concludes our public comment for this evening. Thank you for your comments. They were all very well put, and we will do our best to address them. As I said, we have some work ahead of us on some of these areas. It's not going to happen overnight, but we are going to work to solving some of these issues. Now we go to the minutes. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of August 1st, 2011, regular meeting and executive session. A motion from Alderman Tempest, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, would you mind if I introduce the resolutions and proclamation? No, great. There's a gentleman here this evening, Mr. Chuck Gutman, that is a teacher in the Waukegan High School. I believe, Chuck, you're at West, right? You're at the Washington campus. Okay, I'm sorry. Chuck has he runs a program called the AVID program, which is a program designed to help kids that want to be in college to get there. And it's something that I've had a chance to see firsthand some of the work that he's done. I've met a lot of the young people that are involved in this program. And I wanted to have Chuck come this evening to introduce his program to our city council and to the public in general through the televisions and through YouTube. And I believe you have one of your students' success stories with you this evening. So Chuck, if you'd like to come up, and if you come to the podium, and you have our ear.
Thank you. Welcome, and thank you, Mayor, for inviting me, and Alderman. I sent everyone a packet. I hope everyone got it. These are articles you've seen before. Some of you may not have seen them. I just want to make a little correction. I'm a teacher in the AVID program, and I'm here to talk about Envision Scholars, which is kind of an evolution of AVID that I started to try to get more students from Waukegan to college. So the purpose of Envision Scholars is to unleash the potential that's teeming within Waukegan so that our students can go to college and become contributing members to society. When I think of my own path to college, I realized before I was even born, it was inevitable that I would go to college. Both of my parents graduated from college, and they made it clear that I would go to college. I grew up in the New Trier community where 95% of the student body goes to college. The reality is that the highest achieving low-income students attend college at the same rate as the lowest achieving high-income students. So students from Waukegan who do very well because of various challenges sometimes aren't able to get to college. Students who went to high school with me who are even in the bottom of the class, you know, they might have started at community college and they got on the path. So it's my hope to make college inevitable for as many young people in Waukegan as possible. So I started Envision Scholars, and I can think of no one who epitomizes the prototype for what we're looking at in young students than Luis Tinoco. So it's my pleasure, I'm going to introduce Luis Tinoco briefly, and there's another young man, Quentin McKnight, who is on his way. Envision Scholars believes if you have a dream, you can achieve it. Luis had the dream when he entered my class sophomore year of becoming valedictorian and going to Harvard University. He was number 12 in the class. But he knows very well that a dream is not enough. You need to wake up from that dream and take action. He's taken those actions. I tell my students all the time that there is excellence in you, but excellence is a choice. It's the direct byproduct of the actions we take, the opportunities we embrace, and the choices we make. And Luis has consistently done the right thing and has worked hard. So, not only has he done incredibly well in high school, he also has internalized an ethos of wanting to give back and serving others. He entered sophomore year, my class, as number 12 in the class. He ended up graduating as Waukegan High School's first Hispanic male valedictorian, and like 94% of people who applied to Harvard, he didn't get in, but he got a full scholarship, tuition, room, and board to Sewanee University. He's someone who has inspired me and everyone I know. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce everyone to Luis Tinoco.
Greetings. It's a pleasure to stand before you this evening. Like all my friends, I was not born on a conveyor belt to college. My mother worked as a salad bar attendant. I grew up with a lot of anger watching my father beat my mother up. I rebelled, and others predicted that I will end up like my dad. That will be a no good failure. As I think about my father now, there is no anger. In fact, thinking about my father motivates me to excel. With determination to not end up like my father did, and to honor my mother's sacrifices for me, when I came to the United States, I saw a new beginning, a way to redefine myself with the word success replacing failure. When I started 7th grade in North Chicago, I did not know English, but I didn't feel challenged enough in the bilingual program, and with my mother's permission, I transferred out of bilingual classes. I entered regular classes where initially, naturally, I could not understand anything because of the language. I became even more determined when I saw these challenges. Before I started high school, my family moved to Waukegan. And as all of you know, I'm Waukegan's high school's first Hispanic male valedictorian. I could have not done it without the support of great teachers, especially Alderman Mosio. Clearly, I'm not the failures others predicted for me. From my father, I learned what not to do and how not to behave. While I still miss having my father in my life, his absence has been a gift. I am proud of the person I have become. I now speak before you as an advocate for my friends, for those who have received recognition as ambitious scholars. All of us have what it takes to succeed, have overcome obstacles, have worked our tails off, and are burned with a desire to make a positive contributions to society. Unfortunately, some of us do not currently have enough money to assure that we will ultimately be able to fulfill our dreams, graduating from a 4-year college. We do not want a handout. We are not charity cases. None of us are looking for pity. We're strong and we're proud. However, we don't want money to hold us back. Right now, you might be asking yourself, why am I saying we need money? If I got a full scholarship with tuition, room and board, all covered. I say we because all of us are students of Mr. Gunman, who have become together since sophomore year. With Mr. Gunman's help, success became our mindset. For me, Mr. Gunman is like my second father. We're a family, and a family is only happy as its least happy member. Education is our oxygen, and money helps supply the flow. if the city of Waukegan invests in us, Waukegan will be responsible for not only changing our lives, but for creating new generations of successful people. Our children will go to college. Our children will become successful. We will become doctors, lawyers, educators, and contributors to society. Any help provided goes as far as changing our lives, and will come back and benefit Waukegan. We are proud to be from Waukegan, and we want to give back as much as possible. Thank you.
I just wanted to speak a little bit about Envision Scholars, where we are and what we're trying to do. And the word investment is something very important to us, how we use that language. And Luis asked the city of Waukegan for an investment in us, and we've already had that in the form of the mayor and his support. And it gives me great pleasure to stand before aldermen who I've gotten to know, Rafael Rivera, Sam Cunningham, Greg Moisio. So when we say investment, we know we're not going to get bundles of cash from the sky, but we're seeking a relationship in which we can work together and find ways to bring money, but also to build up our students. And the whole purpose of Envision Scholars is not to just get students to college so that they can fulfill themselves. Where I went, New Trier High School, that's what it was about. It was about my own education. We're looking at an investment. The value of Envision Scholars is not a student going to college and getting a 4-year degree. It's what that student will become 5, 10, 15 years down the road. Someone like Luis Tinoco, who wants to be a cardiologist. When we invest in someone like Luis, we're making a multi-generational impact. His children, his children's children, they will go to college. The lives he will save are a direct result of the investment people have made in him. A lot of people talk about generational poverty, 3 generations of welfare mothers. We're creating generational success. So I just want to end with the closing paragraph to the letter I sent the alderman. A world of opportunities awaits our young people. Putting them on the path to personal and professional success reverberates to Waukegan's benefit. Our current Envision Scholars have internalized an ethos of service and feel deeply committed to playing their part in strengthening Waukegan. Their education can become a linchpin in the revitalization of Waukegan. So I invite further dialogue and partnership with all of you, and it was a distinct pleasure to stand here before all of you today. And I did get a text from Quinn McKnight. He said he's on his way, but we will move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate very much what you're doing, and I've pledged my support to this program beyond just writing a check. It's got to be more than that to make something like this work, and we'll be working together over the remaining time that I'm mayor and even afterwards to help this program be successful. And we're very proud of what you're doing, very proud of the impact that you're having on these young people's lives. They're very impressive young people that are involved in this. They truly are. And we'll make sure that when you have events that we'll work with David and others to get the information out, and we'll do what we can for you. So again, thank you for coming tonight. And Luis, congratulations. Wonderful work and very well put. Thank you very much. This evening we have a very small agenda, and one of the things that we do have available as far as a tool working with is something called the, we call it the consent agenda at the county. And what it does is allows us to basically take the majority of tonight's business, which is very small, in one basic vote after review. I'd like to have Corporation Counsel pick up the process from here and move forward on it. If you could explain how it works.
Sure. The first motion would be to use the omnibus procedure this evening. The second motion would be to approve the matters contained within the omnibus vote. So on behalf of the chair, initially I would entertain a motion to use the omnibus procedure this evening.
Motion by Alderman Moiseo. I'm sorry.
I'll make the motion. Yeah, sure.
Do we have a second? Seconded by Alderman Tempest.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, roll call. I apologize.
Who's the second? Who's the second?
Alderman Beeling, did you have a question, sir?
Does that include the ordinances and resolutions at the
He
end?
wants to hold one up.
They'll be after we vote to use the omnibus, then we'll give everybody a chance to, if they want to hold an item over or take it out. So that's coming over.
Okay.
I got a question. Since we have such a light agenda, why do we need to go through the omnibus? We
If
only
you prefer,
have,
We can
we
go,
only
you
got
want to
5
withdraw your
items.
motion?
we can probably get this done in 10 minutes if we.
Okay.
Or less.
I have no problem with that.
Less than that.
That's fine. I just thought I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean,
So, all right. Well, then let's go on to committee reports and motions since the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. No, we did the minutes.
we did.
Yeah, we've done the
did.
minutes.
We're on public.
Committee reports and motions. We have Public Works Committee, Alderman Moiseo.
Yeah, we have one item. Item A, approve change order to existing contracts with Campanella and Sons and GNS Services for brush removal for a total expenditure of up to $80,000 from the line item 100-910526493, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman Moiseo, seconded by Alderman Conken, to approve change order to existing contracts with Campanella and Sons and GNS Services for brush removal for a total expenditure of up to $80,000 from line item 100-910526493. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest. Alderman Rivera. Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling.
Aye.
And that
Ayes
is
have
it.
it. Thank you. That concludes this evening's business for Public Works. The next items that we have to deal with is under 10, new business, recommended actions by Corporation Counsel. Item A, motion by Alderman Newsom, seconded by Alderman Tempest, to approve the payroll dated August 11, 2011 in the amount of $1,259,180.91. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest. Alderman Rivera. Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Next item is item B. Motion by Alderman Newsom, seconded by Alderman Tempest, to approve bills dated August 15, 2011, the amount of $1,569,130.39. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera. Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Do we have any block parties
I'd
before
like
us?
to move that the block parties be approved as presented.
Motion by Alderman Tempest, seconded by Alderman Rivera. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Item D, which is the appointment of Keith Turner to the Waukegan Development Commission to fill a gap that was created by somebody that resigned from the commission. I'm sorry. We have a motion by, could I see the hand on that? We have the motion by Alderman Cunningham, seconded by Alderman Conken, to appoint Mr. Keith Turner to the Waukegan Development Commission. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera. Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling.
Ayes have it.
Aye.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Harold. I apologize.
Keith is here.
Item number 11, ordinances and resolutions. Item A, an ordinance approving Blanchard Road dedication of right-of-way.
I'd like to hold that over if I could.
You'd like to hold that over?
Yes, sir.
We can certainly do that for the next meeting. You want to, Keith, would you like to come up and say a quick couple of words? I got into that flow mode. Yeah.
That's okay, man.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Mayor Sabajian, and all of the aldermen for honoring me by the appointment to the Waukegan Development Commission. As you all know, I am absolutely committed to what is best for Waukegan, and I look forward to working on this commission and to working with each and every one of you. And again, I am deeply honored and humbled by your choice in picking me for this. Thank you very much.
Glad to have you on board, Keith. Alderman's time.
Alderman Newsom.
I passed tonight.
Alderman Tempest.
Yes, I am concerned, and some comments the mayor made. In fact, I was going to go to finance to find out. Our debt rating went from a AAA rating to a AA rating, and I hear it may deteriorate some more, and I heard that on the street just recently, and it concerns me. I think, as the mayor pointed out in his presentation to us this evening, we're going to have to work harder, be more efficient, and get our debt in line. We can no longer spend for things that we really can't afford. And my hat goes off to you in this hard encounter that we are facing and are going to be facing for some years, I'm afraid. But I think we're progressively making some strides to taking care of this problem. It bothers me very, very much. You go from a AAA to AA, and they're thinking about downgrading us again. So we all need to look very seriously at the financial future of the city of Waukegan and how we can turn this around. And I heard it today with the art space people talking how the art walk getting downtown rejuvenated, and my hat goes off to the hard-working girls are doing on that. Thank you very much.
Alderman Rivera.
I just really have a question, probably to the staff, you know, in regards to the water rates. I received a call from a constituent out west in the Bayberry subdivision, and they have a homeowner association there. And one of the constituents over there noticed on their water bill they had a $15 charge, which is, you know, for garbage. Now, with the homeowner association, they pay the garbage fee. I think it's like $1,700 a month or something like that. So their question is, since their homeowner association pays these fees, why are they individually charged an extra $15 on their water bill? And that's a good question. I did speak to the chief about it. You know, they may have, you know, large dumpsters, that, you know, or are they being individually, do they have individual pickup? So, you know, that's a good question to ask the constituent. This person is also part of the board of the homeowner association. So that's a question that I need to be to get some answers. You know, if their association is already paying these fees, they feel, why are they getting, you know, charged as well on their water bill? So, but other than that, that's all I have to say.
We'll look into it, Alderman.
One thing, Mr. Gutman, we need a lot of people like Mr. Gutman. You know, we've known each other for the past few years, you know, with the Lions Club, and always the Lions Club always supported what Chuck Gutman has done with the students, and you know, sending kids to college. But we need to definitely, you know, get the message, especially to the parents. You know, I think, you know, we only have so many Chuck Gutmans in the community, but if we can get that message out to the parents, I think, you know, it'll be even more successful. Thank you.
Alderman Cunningham.
Thank you. I'm just going to pick up where Alderman Rivera left off regarding Mr. Gutman. I personally got to know Mr. Gutman when my daughter was in his class, and I tell you, an inspiration from teachers like Mr. Gutman to the students, student body at the Waukegan High School. Mr. Gutman reminds me when I was in high school, and he reminds me of teachers like Mr. Monk Arrington, Mr. Larry Tempest, Mr. Williams in the science class, Miss Green. These are teachers who spend their life, who dedicate their time and energy for the well-being of our students. They give their home, they give their time, they give their cars, and this is what the Waukegan public school system really means, you know, to me, when you have, you know, teachers of that dedication. I heard them mention Mr. Greg Moisio. You walk through the halls, as I do many times, and you see the relationship that, you know, the Gutmans and the Moisios have with our students. That is so important. When you ask, how do these kids go back and want to be teachers, want to be politicians? Well, because they invest their time with, you know, individuals who are in there every day. So that's how we get them to come back to Waukegan. So congratulations, Mr. Gutman. I see Mr. McKnight is here. How you doing, sir? Mr. McKnight is part of the McKnight clan of Waukegan who, you know, talking about expectations. Mr. McKnight had an expectation at the age of 5 when his dad had him out there learning how to drive a backhoe. This is what Waukegan is all about, and this is how we steer our children for excellence. So congratulations to you, your program, and what you bring to this community. Second, Trinity AME Church. Many of you probably read in the paper recently where Trinity came in and have delivered roughly 1,000 backpacks. Well, I'm going to tell you, they've been doing it for the last 10 years. They've been doing it off the sweat and equity of church members, people in the community, and people throughout the city of Waukegan. Something else they've started now from a nutrition standpoint, they've done a farmer's market starting at 12 o'clock. I think it goes from 12 to 5 every Friday. You're looking at the oldest African-American church in Lake County, Trinity AME Church, located on 520 South Avenue, pastored by Mr. Blunt. They do a fantastic job. And if you ever get a chance, every year, it is the second week of August, you will see them just distribute backpacks full of back-to-school equipment, typically for our K through 7, K through 8 graders. And they do it with joy. And that is something that, you know, we need to be commending. These are the people of Waukegan that I know of. These are the ones that need to get the headlines in our community. I'd like to also comment on Mr. Blank's concerns when we're talking about, I think, very dangerously close to saying profiling or just the police is only in black neighborhoods. You know, I do agree with Mr. Blanks on some of these issues. But let me tell you the other half of what I'm experiencing with homeowners who live in my community, live on McAllister Street, live on May Street, who live on Lenox. Let me tell you what I hear. I'm tired of young men standing in front of my house. Godly knows what they're doing. And they're bleeding, begging for more police officers. They're begging. These are homeowners. Cannot condone, and I hope the chief and his staff will ever condone any police officer profiling any citizen of this community. But what we can have, what we cannot have, ever, particularly on the south side of Waukegan, where it has been customary for folks to come who don't live there, who don't even own a home, don't even pay rent, don't have an address in my house. But you can come in and give junk. You can sell your dope. You can bring your problems right to where I live at. Now I say to you, you come to my house and you cause problems, I'm going to deal with you. Now you come to my house, you want to knock on my door, ring my doorbell, come in, eat my food, I'm going to welcome you with open arms. But if you take a look at the police reports that exist from the problems that happen mostly in the first ward, it's for people who don't live there. That is a concern to me. And then I have to go back and say, ma'am who lives on 520 or 533 or 722, Lenox, May Street, McAllister, well, I'm sorry, but we're going to have more police. But they don't live here, Alderman. Why can't we get them out of here? We'll find a balance. So what I like to do, I like to work with Mr. Blanks or anyone who think they've been characterized, profiled, whatever, bring those issues directly to me or to the mayor or any alderman up here so we can find a balance. But we cannot, and I repeat this and I say this with strong convictions, we cannot have people coming into our neighborhoods and doing what they want to do when they want to do it. It cannot happen, because then who suffers? When the headlines come, they don't say John Doe living on the other side of town. They say the first ward of Waukegan, McAllister, May Street, Lenox, MLK. Then we get branded as, I don't want to live on the south side. That's a bad place to go. Blacks and Hispanics live over there. The McKnights are the blacks that I know. I can give you a whole lot of Hispanics that I know. If there's a problem in a community, or on a street, in a block, you're supposed to fix the problem, not run away from it. We cannot accept nor tolerate any police officer who's serving and protecting this community to profile anyone. We cannot accept it nor tolerate it, because what happens then is that it breeds. The rest of the police department is the same thing. And as I know a vast majority of them, that doesn't happen. But for those who do, if Mr. Blanks finds those out, let's get rid of them. Period. To move on to things that we must and we have to do. That's provide, serve, and protect this community without passion or prejudice. Last but not least, Mr. Haggerty gave me a phone call, and I know he wasn't here today. And we have some great news for the first ward. The brush has been over there over the last 5-6 weeks. He did tell me today that the trucks are moving in our area effective tomorrow. We did put out, I asked Danny Bennett to send out a phone message that that's going to be coming. So please, if you're listening, Dan, if you can help us out, you got to move these cars, because the brush is in front of those cars will not get picked up, because that we're not going to damage anybody's car, because we don't have the money per the mayor. But on a serious note, let's see, can we move our cars a little bit so we can get those trucks, those brush trucks in there? If I'm not mistaken, I think we're going to be there for the next few days, at least in the 1st and 2nd ward. I know Tom and I are grateful that we got the vast majority of the brush picked up on that northern side of town, and we can move forward. But that's it, my comments for tonight. Thank you.
Alderman Conken.
Oh, yeah, just 2 quick comments. First, Mr. Gutman, I did read your packet that you sent me. It was very impressive. And listening tonight, I just want to congratulate you on your program and hope you do well with it in the future. I hope everything works out the way you want it to. My other comment is, I've made comments before about the dumping on Willow Road in the 2nd Ward. Now, the Willow Road runs through the county forest preserve. And I can go by there and look to my left, here's a tire. 20 yards later is tire number 2. 20 yards later, tire number 3. Then 20 yards later, tire number 4. So it looks obvious to me that somebody's in the back of a pickup truck driving down Willow Road and just flipping the tires out just to get rid of them. Willow Road in the city of Waukegan is not a dumping ground. Another issue we had is, just because they hauled all the branches out of our neighborhood, that neighborhood back there, behind the Belvedere Mall, and moved them all to the corner where they could be put in a pile and picked up. Next morning, I found a wardrobe sitting there on top of the pile of branches. for somebody, I assume, hoping was going to pick it up along with the branches and send it out to be chipped up or something. I don't know. But then 2 days later, after the branches were all picked up, there's a wardrobe sitting in the middle of the field because that wasn't part of the pickup. So I'd appreciate it, Chief, and talk to Chief Greathouse when he gets back. You know, let's see what we can do, whether we can put up a camera or something up there to try to get people to stop dumping on Willow Road. And that's all my comments. Thank you. And Adams.
Alderman Moiseo.
A couple of things that obviously thank Mr. Gutman. He's a tireless worker. I've known him for a while. Waukegan High School is lucky to have him. Luis Tinoco, I had the opportunity to teach him for 2 years. He's a great kid, obviously from the speech. You don't need me to tell you that. The fact that he's valedictorian. When he talks about investment, I think we need to understand that. Students like Luis, and there's many more at Waukegan High School, they're good investments. They're good investments. And that's what education is supposed to be. It's supposed to be an investment. And we need to keep that in mind. And I think the other thing that he epitomizes is they've always called America the land of opportunity. I think he made that point pretty clear in his speech. There's an opportunity in Waukegan, at Waukegan High School, and in America. And he's grabbed that opportunity. It's there if you want it. He had a lot of hurdles, a lot of struggles, and he made it. And there's been many others, as he will attest to, a lot of his friends that have made it. It's there if you want it. It's there. And he made that abundantly clear in his speech. His valedictorian speech was very similar and very well spoken also. The second thing, again, about the brush. Public Works, as the mayor has stated, if you do the math, we're down 40%. Our work staff in the city is down 40%. Public Works itself is down 45, 50 people. What I've told people is we only have so many hours in the day and so many people to do the work. That is, it is what it is. We only have so much money. There is no money for overtime. In the past, I know we still have great services, but we would have had this picked up. You know, if we would have had money for overtime, Mr. Haggerty just would have had people working 10 hours a day and got it picked up. But we don't have it. We don't have the overtime. We don't have the manpower to do it. One thing I think sometimes that happens, obviously it's happened in Washington, it happens in Springfield. I think up here we've tried to sort of curtail that, is we as elected leaders sometimes have to tell people no. We have to tell people no. We don't have the money, we don't have the staff, we don't have that ability to do it. And not always look for a vote and say, yeah, we'll get that done, or we'll try to get this done for you, we'll do that. We have to be honest with you and with everybody up here. Is sometimes we just don't have the ability. Business is always honest. If they don't have it, they just tell you no, or they cut back, or they cut their services, or they start charging you more. Well, last year the people of Waukegan told us you can't charge us anymore. We don't have any more to tax. So we didn't raise property taxes. But then up here we have to be strong enough to say, you know, we're getting to it, it's getting done. We only have so many people, we only have so many hours in the day, we don't have any money for overtime. We have to understand that. And I think the whole country has to start to understand that. And I think the message that the mayor and you will Alderman Tempest all the time, you got to start doing more for yourself. I know that's hard for some people, but we have to start doing more for ourselves. And again, right back to with Luis. He did a lot for himself. A lot for himself. He had some help, but a lot of times he did it for himself. And look where it got him. That's it.
Alderman Beedling.
As the mayor stated earlier, we're out of money in the city, and workman's compensation, grievance procedures, labor negotiation with lawyers costs a lot of money. And we need to somehow cut these costs. And I would like in the future if maybe we could look into perhaps privatizing certain city services. We just can't afford all this. And the budget isn't going to get any larger next year, and once again, the state and the federal government, I seriously doubt there'll be much more money coming from them. So I think we're going to have to maybe look at privatizing some services. And a lot of my focus in my ward is on rude people, loud people, disrupting people's peace and quiet, and I work a lot with our police department, and I want to say, once again, how responsive they are. My neighborhood policeman, Art Flores, I couldn't imagine having a harder working, more enthusiastic policeman to work with. And I know not everybody is perfect in life. However, our policemen are punched, they're kicked, they're spit at, run over by cars, and their job is very difficult. And I think it would be wise for the community to at least consider those points and be respectful of any contact they have with our policemen. A long time ago, I had the occasion of being arrested in Waukegan for disorderly conduct. I was going to a concert at the VFW around 1973. And some youths were causing a little mayhem, and a number of Waukegan police cars were there. And one of my friends said to one of the Waukegan policemen, "And you wonder why your cars are overturned and burned?" Well, that policeman said, "That's assault," and my friend got arrested. So I figured, well, I'm not going to tolerate this. So I marched right over to used to be the front desk was right on the entry door over here on the west end of the building. There was a very large police sergeant there. And I come in the door, all hot-headed, and I said, "You can't arrest my friend for that. He didn't do anything." Well, that large policeman came walking down, and his hand was large enough to get all the way around my neck. And he grabbed my shoulder and promptly marched me downstairs and charged me with disorderly conduct, and I was in jail, and I had to get bailed out. And I learned a very valuable lesson from that. Rightly or wrongly, the police had somewhat of a hot situation on their hand, and I learned to keep my mouth shut. When the police ask me a question, it's yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am. And that has served me well ever since 1973. And I want to thank Deputy Chief McCormick for the work that he does. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, if I could ask everybody up here, just let's hold tight. Quentin, you came all the way this evening. Did you have some comments that you were prepared to make to the City Council? I just wanted to have offer you that opportunity before we adjourn for the evening. Absolutely. Well, we're proud of what you're doing, and we're very happy that you're part of the program, and you're going to be one of our success stories, too. So thank you very much for what you're doing. Given that, I'll take a motion to adjourn by Alderman Conkin, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Good night, everybody, and thank you.